This Beyond the Obvious podcast is brought to you by Dwell Time in collaboration with Yorkshire and the Humber Visual Arts Network. Beyond the Obvious highlights lived experiences of artists, writers, curators and artist-led initiatives from the global majority in Yorkshire and the Humber region. YVAN's 2021-22 Beyond the Obvious programme is funded by Arts Council England in collaboration with Sheffield Hallam University.
Hello, I'm Alice Bradshaw from Dwell Time, talking with Chinwe Russell. Hi Chinwe, please could you introduce yourself and the work you do?
Hi everyone, my name is Chinwe Russell and I am an artist, a Nigerian-born Doncaster-based artist, but these days I am mainly a curator, so I curate a lot of exhibitions in the area. And I'm also the director of Doncaster Art Fair, which runs exhibitions, and I'm the chief executive of the D31 Art Gallery in Doncaster in Scotland. So I wear a lot of hats.
You're very busy by the sound of it. Please could you talk about the process and your experience of the Beyond the Obvious project that you've been working on?
Well, I was approached by an artist, Glynis Nelson, who I met a few years ago. I had actually exhibited her work previously. That's how we met. So she contacted me and said that she wanted me to get involved. It took a while for me to actually understand what the project was all about, but we sort of streamlined it. I helped her to streamline what I think she wanted to say. And then when I was comfortable with it, I then decided, okay, to support the project. It was pretty straightforward. You know, I sent over the information they required from me, which was a piece of work. And I sent over a work which I had previously exhibited and sold in London at the Royal Academy of Arts, and some information regarding the work. So it was a piece of work that was quite personal to me, a snapshot of my family. During which I painted during the pandemic. So it was pretty straightforward process, I would say.
Thank you. And what are your experiences of the education systems? What are or were the challenges, and what would you like to see change and progress?
Well, I grew up in Nigeria, so I never experienced the education system in England. So when we moved to England with my daughter, who was in year 3 at the time, that was my first experience of the British education system. I know that is incredibly tough for the teachers, you know, especially with the pandemic and everything, but it's really very sad to see that a lot of the creative subjects are relegated to the background, not very important, you know, drama, music, arts. I think in my daughter's school, they do art like once every 2 weeks, something like that, which really should be at the heart of the education, because art leads to so many other careers. It leads to sciences, engineering, everything, you know, begins with the imagination of a child, putting it down on paper or actually creating it. So it's really sad to see that the system is not focusing on that and then finding a way to direct the child to all the different areas. So it's something that's been my campaign for quite a long time, not within the education system, but really in the town, and to impress upon people the importance of art, because a lot of people think that art is just a piece of painting on the wall and it does nothing else. But for a child, I don't know if there's any parent that has not encouraged their children to do art, you know, from the time they're small, draw, paint, you know, because we've got it in all of us, and it doesn't necessarily lead to being an artist, but it can lead you to so many different sectors. So our education system really should be heavily focused on that. The budgets are cut, you know, all the time, when it should be the opposite. So it's very sad to see that, to be honest with you. So,
do you find that the work that you do with the gallery and your community work is filling that gap within the education systems then? Is that something you're actively working on?
Yes, because we do, we're a registered charity, and the 2 mandates we have is to provide a space where people can come and see and learn about art, and also to provide art education to the general public, you know, teach people about art. Those are the 2 main objectives of the charity. And obviously, we would like to do it a lot more, but given the constraints of COVID that we have lived in, this past 2 years, we haven't really been able to do that. But our space, this project was set up. I set it up to bridge that gap. So to give the general public art education, basically, which I believe it should be everybody's right. I lived in Paris, for many years, and art is part of everyday life. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to make an effort, to engage with the arts. So it's something really that, but they've done it for I don't know, hundreds of years. It's so every child, every person grows up knowing all about the arts. You see it on the streets everywhere, and it's part of every child's education, and then it becomes part of your daily life. So it's something that really we should try and adopt in the UK.
We could learn a lot from other countries and how they work, can't we? You mentioned about COVID as well, which leads me on to my next question. How have you navigated the pandemic, and what reflections would you like to share in terms of resilience, mental health, and the global majority?
To be frank with you, during the COVID period, it was a very, very productive time for me, because I was at home, on that lockdown like the rest of the world. So I threw myself into my work, and I created a lot of collections during the COVID, but also the gallery project that you see here, we started it during the pandemic, because we had time on our hands, and we did all the work. We did the work here. We took it in turns to come in and physically, redecorate the space. So I pulled off some really big online exhibitions, like Art as a Response to Mental Health. I did that during the pandemic, and it was visited, I think, 145,000 times by people from all over the world. And the exhibition covered, people from Russia, Egypt, everywhere in the world, so I wouldn't have been able to set up that kind of exhibition during normal times, because I would have been busy dashing up and down. But because I was at home, I had a headspace to actually plan and run that exhibition, which was sponsored by the Doncaster Council. So it was a really, really productive time for me during the pandemic.
That sounds great. We did something similar with Dwell Time. We moved online and did an online open call and exhibition in response. It kind of forced us into that situation. Now that you're back in the gallery, are you continuing with the online work as well?
Yeah, very much so, because I don't think we can move away from online. It's part of our daily lives. It's convenient for everyone. It means you can work from home. But on the other hand, it's been very hard for the high street, because a lot of businesses, including galleries, have moved online. So it's been really very good, and also very challenging for the high street. But I don't see us, I do most of my work online, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon.
So what's next for you? What are your future plans and ambitions?
I'm very busy. I'm a very busy person as an artist and as a curator. I've got a touring exhibition which is touring the UK and Scotland. I think a few years ago, maybe three years ago, I created a collection which is 20 women who changed the world, and the collection was to highlight the important role that women play in our society all over the world. The topic of women is really very current, and even more so now, as if I knew it, so when I was creating the collection. So what I did was I did a lot of research of hundreds of women from all over the world, and chose 20 of them who resonated with me, who worked incredibly hard to change the society around them. So it's quite a huge body of work, I think 1.2 meters by 1 meter. And the exhibition just finished this January at the Doncaster Dana Museum in Doncaster, and is moving to Cast, which is our big theatre in Doncaster, for another 3 weeks, and then is moving to a museum down south in Torbay. And it will be run there for about 2 months. Then he'll move to Scotland. So it's a traveling exhibition. Also, I will be exhibiting at the Louvre Museum in Paris. I think it's in September. So I'm busy preparing for that. I was also privileged to get a Arts Council grant to start a collection of ceramics. It was centered on gods of Africa. So the gods that were present and very active in Africa before the European one god arrived and, chased them. So I'm sort of reviving all the gods in ceramic form. So, and so many other things. I also curate auctions, giving emerging artists the opportunity to actually sell their work on the international marketplace. So it's something that I work in collaboration with an auction house in Southend, and it's growing and growing and growing. More and more artists are benefiting from that opportunity. And I'm also going to continue running. I'm running an open exhibition at the moment, and then in a few months down the line, I will run the Arts as a Response to Mental Health again for the 3rd year running, because it's here to stay. A lot of people suffered from mental health during COVID, so that exhibition has come to mean a lot for a lot of artists all over the world. So I'm going to run that. And later in the year, I'm going to run the diversity exhibition. This will be for the 2nd time. Again, it resonates with a lot of artists from all over the world. So I am very busy, This is in addition to being a mom and a wife. So it's a very busy time.
Thank you. Finally, could you nominate another artist who you think would be good for us to speak to about these issues?
Yeah, actually, there's a lady that I think will be good if she's up for it, because she can be a bit, shy. Her name is Kim Fa. She's a Doncaster artist, but curator and curator of a gallery, the Gallery Gate. I had the privilege of working with her for about a year, and she showed incredible passion. I worked with her when I was setting up the gallery. She sort of supported me during that time, and she works really, really hard. She was here day after day with me, come rain or shine. She was very, very passionate, while also learning how the gallery, how a gallery operates. And she's also done quite a lot of work for other artists in town. So it's somebody that she's very resilient in spite of all the challenges, that she has. And I think she will be a good fit for this project.
Wow, that's incredible. And so much resonates with me as well, your passions and all these important issues. I think you're fantastic and keep up the amazing work. So lovely talking to you.
This Beyond the Obvious podcast is brought to you by Dwell Time in collaboration with Yorkshire and the Humber Visual Arts Network. Beyond the Obvious highlights lived experiences of artists, writers, curators and artist-led initiatives from the global majority in Yorkshire and the Humber region. To date, the programme has supported 5 emergent artist networks with a collective membership over 600 through the Nourish Development Programme. Beyond the Obvious too includes 9 artists, 5 writers, 3 curators and an emerging designer as a print and online publication, as well as 2 new Dwell Time podcasts. YVAN's 2021-22 Beyond the Obvious programme is funded by Arts Council England in collaboration with Sheffield Hallam University.